In the previous video, we set up the Add to Bag view in the Bag app, which ultimately resulted in the creation of a session variable called Bag, which contains all the items the user would like to purchase. Because it's a session variable, we can access it anywhere we can access the request object, like in our views or the custom context processor we made. In this video, we'll access the shopping bag stored in the session within the context processor in order to add all the bag's current items to the context of all templates. We'll use this functionality to display the total cost of the current shopping bag in the nav bar and also start rendering items in the shopping bag template. First, I'm going to remove the print statement from the bottom of the Add to Bag view since we won't need it anymore once this bit of work is finished. Now moving on to context.py, accessing the shopping bag in the session is simple. I'll just do it the same as we did in the Add to Bag view, getting it if it already exists, or initializing it to an empty dictionary if not. In order to populate the values of these variables we're not using yet, we need to iterate through all the items in the shopping bag and along the way, tally up the total cost and product count, and add the products and their data to the bag items list so we can display them on the shopping bag page and elsewhere throughout the site. So for each item and quantity in bag.items, and notice that this is the bag from the session, I'll first get the product, then add its quantity times the price to the total, and then increment the product count by the quantity. I'll also add a dictionary to the list of bag items containing not only the ID and the quantity, but also the product object itself, because that'll give us access to all the other fields such as the product image and so on when iterating through the bag items in our templates. In fact, we'll do that in just a moment, but first we need to import the product model and the get object or 404 shortcut. And it looks like I've got a small typo here, so I'm going to fix that. With the context processor saved, let's head over to the bag.html template and render out the bag item so we can see what we're working with. For now, I'll render it here in this div and we'll complete this part in a bit, but for now this will at least prove that it's working. Now I'll start the server. Add a few products to the bag. And then navigate to the shopping bag page. Already we can see a significant change in our store. Not only do we see the item IDs, their quantities, and the product objects in the shopping bag template, but the grand total in the main site header is working as well. Let's review where that's coming from. Remember in the base template we had that little if statement to check whether a template variable called grand total exists. Until now this hasn't done anything, but thanks to the new context processor creating the grand total variable, this if statement is formatting and displaying it properly. The conditional classes are rendering as well, highlighting the bag icon whenever there's something in it. With this working, I'm going to commit my changes and then add some content to the shopping bag table to actually render out the list of items in the bag. The basis for this comes straight from the Bootstrap docs, which you can review if you'd like more detail about these classes and the structure, but the basic idea is that we're going to have 5 columns containing the product image, some info about it, the per item price, the quantity, and the subtotal for that item, and each row will be a new item. So let's make a table with a header row here. The second header is blank since the product info will span 2 columns, and the other 3 will contain the price, the quantity, and the subtotal. Inside the table body, let's iterate through each item in the shopping bag and create a row for each one. The first column will be the product image. And the second will contain the product's name and SKU. The third column here will have the price, the fourth the quantity, and the fifth will contain the subtotal, which for now we'll just set as the product price even though it won't be accurate. We'll fix this in a later step. Finally, I'll paste in the final 2 rows from the completed project, and you'll see some familiar variables. In this first row, I'm using the total, the delivery charges, and the grand total, as well as the free delivery delta to show the user a summary of their costs and entice them to spend a little more if they're under the free delivery threshold. In the final row, we'll render a Keep Shopping button in case they're not done, and a Secure Checkout button, which will take them to the checkout page once it's created. We can now save the template, open the site, and see how the shopping bag page is looking. It's starting to look like a legitimate e-commerce store at this point, so let's commit the changes we've made, push them to GitHub, and in the next video, we'll continue fine-tuning and adding additional functionality to make the user experience even better.